no face, no case. You feel me? You feel me?
No Face Crypto just dropped another video. We're fucked.
Who the hell is this guy?
Can't see me, but feel my mind. No Face Crypto, phantom protocol. Standing tall while empires fall. Central chains can't cage it all. Unshaken faith I break.
What is up, guys? Welcome to the No Face Crypto channel. What's the best no case? You feel me? I hope everyone had an amazing, fantastical, beautiful Christmas with their family. Maybe you guys got a gift you wanted to get. Hopefully you guys just spent some good time with your family. Lots of love being spread around, which is what we like to do here at the No Face Crypto channel, unless it's for ZBEC. All right. Now, with Christmas in effect, right? Every year we get a new post from Bearable Guy 123. If you guys don't know the lore behind Bearable Guy 123, essentially nobody knows who the fuck this guy is. He could be Brett Garlinghouse. He could be David Schwartz. We don't really know. We just know that 589 lore, a lot of that 589 lore, it comes straight from Bearable Guy 123. Now, if we go ahead and we take a look at this picture here, you need a super zoom to basically get to what you want to see here. But essentially, it is very, very packed with a lot of information, something that we may or may not break down later in another video. But something I found very, very interesting here, guys. Now, I'm no riddle decoder, okay? I'm not going to say and pretend like I am. I'm extremely bad at solving puzzles. Like, actually doing a puzzle in real life, forget about it, okay? I'm not good at it. But I just think this is a massive connection to be made here between Spaceballs, the movie. They are now in space. The Schwartz, right? Let's go ahead and roll the clip. But it is just very ironic. There's two Spaceballs in this top container right here. Now, these kind of have some type of design to them, which can be broken down into something else, which you're not going to get into in this video. But I want to make it very clear that Spaceballs 2, the second Spaceballs, is coming out. Let's go ahead and roll the clip that we've played many, many times. Let's go ahead and roll the directors of Spaceballs talking about the new movie coming out in 2027, by the way. I don't know. I don't know if there's a connection to be made here. I just think it is very, very ironic.
A power known throughout the universe as the
Force?
No. The Schwartz. The Schwartz.
What is it that you do here?
Merchandising. Where the real money from the movie is made. Spaceballs the t-shirt. Spaceballs the coloring book. Spaceballs the lunchbox. Spaceballs the breakfast cereal. Spaceballs the flamethrower. The kids love this one.
After 40 years, we asked, what do the fans want? But instead, we're making this movie. May the Schwartz be with you.
I'm going to go ahead and grab a picture of this up close. We're going to throw it on the screen. Now, I understand that the interpretation of all of this stuff may be completely inaccurate on my end, and I completely understand that this is not my wheelhouse, right? But the way I'm interpreting this picture, guys, is we are going to the fucking moon. It is happening soon, right? We have God's hand reaching out from the sun with 2 pints of beer and what looks like to be Brad Garlinghouse with a fucking bagpipes holding a purple XRP flag, the same XRP flag that was on top of the castle in one of these pictures at some point. This was an XRP flag right here. I don't know, guys. I just know that this one container right here is popped open. All right. There are 2 balls in this container. They are in space. And there is another Spaceballs movie coming out in 2027 in which the Schwartz. I mean, I just look, and Spaceballs and the whole like pop culture XRP 589 lore is one of my favorite things to discuss. It is insane, guys. In this movie, they flip the switch. The switch is right there. He's grinning. It almost looks like as if he's about to reach towards the switch. That is just my interpretation. I don't know if this is going to be correct or incorrect. It's probably wrong, but that is just my interpretation, ladies and gentlemen. Spaceballs 2 comes out in 2027. They are now in space. There's 2 Spaceballs in the fucking container. That is what I will add to this lore. Let's go ahead and pop in a picture for you guys. I got you. Additionally, right, you can't see this very well, but the moon cycles are kind of put out down here, graphed out. Right here are the moon cycles. I'll try and zoom in as best as I can. I did see someone kind of speak to the significance of this, and maybe we'll find it in another video, guys. This is not going to be a full breakdown in this video. But my last point, guys, something I said previously just a second ago, is that he looks like he is reaching towards the switch with a confident grin. The Ripple hat is right there. We know this is XRP, this is Ripple, etc. His foot is half off of this platform here, which means I am interpreting this as him reaching towards the switch. What else is he looking at, guys? So something very, very curious to take here. All right. We also have translucent books. I believe this to maybe represent something like lost knowledge. Now, I understand that there's levels to this shit, and there's going to be people that breaks this down way better than I can, guys. But it is very, very funny to me. 2 Spaceballs. Spaceballs 2 comes out in 2027. He is reaching towards the switch here. Where else is he going, guys? Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take this as my interpretation and not an opinion and not fact, right? Again, I don't solve puzzles. But let me just expand on the translucent books for a second. Lost knowledge, sacred knowledge. I am taking that as a representation of that, right? About a month back, I dropped a video on the Nikola Tesla Crypto Paradox, in which got a lot of pushback and kind of nuked from the algorithm for good reason. Now that we have some new information on the Epstein files and how he may have funded Bitcoin at MIT, it makes the Nikola Tesla Crypto Paradox video almost a fucking certainty. I got 2 comments from some of my subscribers, guys. If you are watching, you know who you are. To go ahead and watch the Crypto Bull Runners video, where he kind of discussed some things to do with Tesla, crypto, and how this may play out. This big grand conspiracy, the biggest conspiracy in crypto, etc., which is something I also believe in. 100%. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll a clip from the Bull Runners video first, and then we're going to go ahead and roll a clip from my video that I did a while ago on this. But I'm taking those sacred books as exactly that, sacred knowledge that is hidden, if you will. And when I go ahead and explain this again in the next few minutes, you guys are going to lose your fucking shit. I will break this down even more in a better video, obviously. I just got back from Christmas, you feel me? We're a little busy around here. But I do want to let you guys know, if you are listening intently at this very second, I have a green screen at this very point, and I have a face cam ready to go. We are going live at 500 subscribers. I will be shiestied up. All right. Now, over the next month or 2, I'm going to go figure out how to make this as good as possible for you guys to view. But yes, we are going live at 500 subscribers, and I am not just going to go live with nothing to offer, right? I'm going to try and get a green screen, face cam, do all the shit, get shiestied up, make it entertaining. All right, that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the Bull Runners video. You guys have commented saying, hey, basically, this guy may have seen parts of your Nikola Tesla video, but what he is talking about is insane. The connections are crazy. John Trump, Tesla, crypto, etc. So let's go ahead and roll some clips.
Tesla's death, Ingersoll Lockwood wrote 2 novels, and at the time they seemed like fiction novels that you would read when you want to go to the library and discover some fantasy world. But more than a century later on social media, this went viral. You've probably seen it in my previous videos. But in 1893, this book that came out talking about Baron Trump's marvelous underground journey. The story follows Baron Trump, who inherited a manuscript. It's written by a guy named Don, who's his mentor, and it basically gives him a map where he takes that map, departs from Castle Trump, journeys all the way across Russia, and descends into underground worlds. And along his journey, he meets a lot of strange people, discovers different portals between dimensions, and those portals allow him to time travel. And then a few years later, Ingersoll Lockwood put out another book called The Last President, and the start of the book described New York in chaos after a popular outsider wins the presidency. Now, does that sound familiar to Donald Trump's story? And protesters fled Fifth Avenue in New York City. Now, here's what's even more interesting. If you look up Trump Tower in New York City, well, it's on Fifth Avenue. I can't make this stuff up, guys. So the parallels here are uncanny. It is absolutely insane. All the stories about Baron Trump, Donald Trump's son, an outsider becoming president, Trump Tower being located on 5th Street. And in April of 2025, a man delivered a speech titled The Golden Age of American Innovation at the Endless Frontiers Retreat in Austin, Texas. And this was posted on the White House website. And in this document right here, he talks about discoveries that will bend time and space. So is that just a metaphor? Is Ingersoll's books just a bunch of fiction? Or is this telling us something else? Stories about the future written from a man over 100 years ago. And Lockwood wasn't a prophet here, he was a lawyer. His books gathered dust for over a century here. And now that they're coming back in a digital age here,
He goes on a dive a little bit deeper into the Ingersoll, I think that's his name, Lockwood books that were published back in the early or the late 1800s, before the whole Nikola Tesla thing even happened, right? Now we can go ahead and argue time travel, this, that, etc. But here are the facts. And this is why when a lot of this, I don't know, I would say lore and just these riddles and stuff come up, it's not that I kind of check out. It's that real life is so fucking crazy that you almost don't need this stuff, guys. And I mean that in 100% certainty, right? Let's go ahead and discuss very quickly. We're going to roll a quick clip from my last video on the Nikola Tesla Crypto Paradox. But I'm going to summarize at the end of this video here exactly what I think is going on, updated version with the new Epstein news, if you will, and then eventually at some point we'll get a big video out for this. ARPANET, a project initiated by the U.S. Department of Defense in the late 60s. Now this is where things get very, very interesting. So hopefully you guys have understood the conclusion on Tesla here, but essentially he was an amazing inventor. He wanted to make our world better for humans. He wanted to give us free electricity.
The lights off. That's right. You don't drop for free. You don't suck for free, and you don't do shit for free.
And then he got slimed out by JP Morgan and the Rothschilds. That's a fact. You guys will be watching, you will be hearing Donald Trump's uncle himself talking about Tesla and essentially what he was there to do. Now, with that being said, keep in mind, he had access to all of Tesla's things, and we have never seen those things. They have never seen the light of day till then. This is Donald Trump's uncle, John Trump.
He agreed to meet me at the company office the next morning.
In the spring of 1943, Dr. Carl T. Compton, who was then president of MIT, asked me to go to New York and examine the effects of Nikola Tesla. These were contained in an upper floor of a warehouse somewhere in New York City. And I spent a good deal of time examining one by one the papers, the books, and various other memorials that he had accumulated. But I was particularly looking for something which would be evidence of a secret weapon, which I was reminded by the agents, the 2 agents who were present during the entire time, was a matter of concern to the United States.
Oh my gosh. A weapon of mass destruction. I have not heard this before. Not like I've heard this before, no way.
America and our friends and allies join with all those who want peace and security in the world. And we stand together to win the war against terrorism.
At this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations.
So nearly 3 weeks after this war began, U.S. forces are now coming into the center of Baghdad. This is what regime change looks like.
United States military forces captured Saddam Hussein, and now the former dictator of Iraq will face the justice he denied to millions.
But when are you going to apologize for the million Iraqis that are dead because you lied? You lied about weapons of mass destruction. You lied about connections to 9/11. You lied about Iraq being a threat. You sent me to Iraq. You sent me to Iraq.
There goes a perfect example of why you cannot believe anybody for anything. I don't believe a word that comes out of John Trump's mouth. I barely believe a word that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth.
So you're saying all this time you were lying about this? I mean, so you're saying you're a liar. You just admitted it. So were you lying then or are you lying now? Which lie is it?
It doesn't matter what side you're on, Democratic, Republican, this, that, black, white, Asian, I don't care. You can't believe a word these people say. Everything is filtered and given to us on a platter by the Matrix. Facts. They went there to go... They were worried Tesla had a crazy weapon. Sounds very familiar.
I did come across a number of letters directed at the upper echelon of the British Empire, that is, I think, to the King and Queen, or perhaps just to the King of England, and also to the Tsar of Russia, explaining that he was the inventor of a secret weapon which had rather remarkable properties, and that he would be interested in entering into a negotiation which would lead to a disclosure of what they were.
Now let's get into the real meat and potatoes. We're going to finish up this video with the punchline of this video. Now when people go ahead and say, for me for example, I truly believe in my heart of hearts and my card of cards, this is the grandest, most insane, largest, overarching conspiracy in human history. I truly believe this is the grand conspiracy in human history. So let me go ahead and just break this down very, very quickly for you guys. Again, we're going to do this even more in another video, but let me just break this down. In 1912, J.P. Morgan, whose father worked very closely with the Rothschilds, J.P. Morgan himself financed the Titanic. The Rothschilds then came out and said, yo, we're not insuring that shit. So then the Titanic sets off with all these 1% millionaire, billionaire American families who happen to oppose the central banking system, also known as the Federal Reserve. The same man who funded and financed that Titanic, J.P. Morgan, was not on the Titanic that day. So all the people who opposed the federal banking system died. In 1914, the Federal Reserve pops up out of nowhere. Well, not nowhere. We know what happened and why it was allowed to pop up, because the people who opposed it were dead. So since 1914, the Federal Reserve has introduced 3,200% or more at the rate of inflation to humans, which is now, I mean, they have pretty much put us in a new form of financial slavery. Slavery never went away, guys. And so I'm sorry that you guys have to learn the real history from this channel. If you're a younger guy, if you're in high school or something, I apologize. I truly do. But this is the real history. This is how things happen, guys. So while all this was going on, the Titanic got cooked. The Federal Reserve gets formed, and all the people who oppose a banking system are dead. A central banking system. So what happens during all of this? Well, Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest minds in human history, was partially funded by J.P. Morgan before being defunded. I believe right after the Federal Reserve was created. Regardless of this, Nikola Tesla was working on 369 mathematics, vortex math, Bluetooth energy, wireless power, and essentially an Internet of Things. He envisioned a world where you could send energy from A to B basically free and almost immediately. And that is where I come in and say, hey, this is crypto. That is exactly what crypto is. So the Federal Reserve gets created. Nikola Tesla says, I'm not with that shit. And basically dies a poor man, lives the rest of his life poor, while still inventing, doing math, etc., etc. The feds come in. Mind you, around World War I, I believe it was World War I, Nikola Tesla created the technology that was used for radar. Okay? So they took this man's mathematics, used it for radar in the war. The central bankers did. And then they come around in the 40s and say, hey, Oh, we think you have a weapon of mass destruction. Meanwhile, we just use the technology for our military. So you know what they do? They go into the man's house, home, wherever his work is. They send in John G. Trump, who was working at MIT at the time. Now, keep in mind, guys, Tesla is alleged he could have had access to time travel. He sincerely quoted himself seeing into other dimensions, and his mathematics are still used today, right? This was 100 years before any of this stuff became like real. So it is a real consideration that Tesla had access to time travel. I just want to be very clear here. Now, the 40s come along. John G. Trump goes into Tesla's place and essentially steals 20 boxes of work, never to be seen again, right? It is alleged time travel, mathematics, or some type of technology to do with that was in this work. Gone. Never seen again. Years later, we get Donald Trump, the nephew of John Trump, as the president of the United States, and now we have him for a second term. This is not hate. I am just stating the facts here. If you were to seize time travel technology, wouldn't you make somebody in your family the president of the United States, the most powerful man in the entire world? I don't know. So, John Trump takes all of Tesla's things. He cites that there is no military value behind these boxes, behind this work. And this is where shit gets absolutely fucking crazy, guys. I want to let you know, this is how I got onto the theory in the first place. None of this has to do anything with Bearable Guy 123. That comes in a little bit later, right? Donald Trump is magically the president, right? Sometime in 2025, we received a H-bar gold paper, which I will not dive into too deep in this video. I did do it in the last video I made on this, but essentially it cites Nikola Tesla mathematics as a way of backing the US dollar using H-bar in a federally regulated loan system. This will be used with Parcel 19, which was designed and created by cryptic military personnel citing Nikola Tesla's mathematics. And this is after John Trump took all of his work and said that it had no military value. We have discussed all this already, so maybe you guys already understand this. Now, this is where shit gets even crazier. Not too long ago, they released the Epstein files, a few of them, and we see emails linking Epstein to the first funding of a cryptocurrency at MIT, at Bitcoin. We know Epstein was a member of the military-industrial complex. Besides the sex trafficking, he funneled money for the CIA, for the military, for ISIS, etc., etc., etc. I mean, we're not going to get into it here, right? Tell me why Epstein funded the research that went into creating Bitcoin at MIT, the same place where John Trump came from to seize Tesla's work. And then we go ahead and we get the H-bar gold paper, which is citing Tesla's work for a cryptocurrency-backed, federally regulated loan system. We don't need the lore, guys. This is what I'm saying. We don't even need all the riddles. Real life is crazier. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to the original Nikola Tesla Crypto Paradox video in the description and the pinned comment below. But I am not exaggerating when I say you guys need to lock in and watch this. And also, this dude, Nikola Tesla, was predicting and essentially predicted smart contracts before they were even a thing. I wish I was joking. I wish I was joking, guys. And so, does this become the largest conspiracy ever? I believe so. I truly believe so, ladies and gentlemen. We don't need the lore. It's fun to look at it, right? These are riddles. We can answer them all we want, right? But what do you need to know? The Titanic went down in 1912. The Federal Reserve was created in 1914. Nikola Tesla went broke for 30 years while creating radar, Bluetooth technology, the Wardenclyffe towers, etc., and possibly time-traveling mathematics or technology. In the 40s, he gets finessed by John Trump, where John Trump steals 20 or around 20 of his boxes that were never to be seen by the public ever again, alleged to have time traveling technology. Donald Trump, his nephew, becomes the president not once, but twice, and he is known as the crypto president. We know Trump and Epstein were friends. Let's not sit here and pretend like they weren't. Okay, they were. John Trump goes to MIT, comes from MIT, finesses Tesla's stuff, and then Epstein funds the first research into a digital currency, aka Bitcoin, at MIT, where the mathematics that Tesla had were probably held. And then we get the crypto president. And then we get the H-bar gold paper that is literally citing Tesla's mathematics for a cryptocurrency loan-backed system for the US dollar. We know things are changing. We know there's a new financial system coming, guys. And so, in a way, I believe that Nikola Tesla's work was corrupted by the Federal Reserve, or the people that worked for the Federal Reserve, aka an arm being John Trump. And that is why we see nowadays crypto at one point was truly decentralized, was truly for retail, and we see at this point it has now been corrupted by the institutions at a level we never expected. What the fuck is a CBDC? Right? So I know there's a lot of this crazy stuff going on, all this lore, etc., but our true history, your real world is much more interesting than this lore. And so yes, when I see hollowed out books, I truly believe that might be representing Nikola Tesla's work. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't want to make this video too long, guys. One more point, right? I don't talk about the books, right? The fact that they made a book about the colonization of Mars by somebody named the Elon. The fact they made a book about the last president and his name is Trump. The fact they made a book about Baron Trump, all in the 1800s, early 1900s. Real life is very, very interesting, guys. And so, how can you explain that? How can you logically explain those books existing? Right, we're going to go ahead and get into that in the next big Nikola Tesla Paradox video. But one of the only answers to that is time travel, guys. Real life is fucking insane. It is more interesting than all these these riddles and stuff, which I do enjoy. But there's 3 books linking people who exist in today's world over 100 years ago, and they are eerily accurate. We're going to go ahead and discuss that in another video, but there is something to be said there. And honestly, time travel is the most likely outcome. How else do you get the crypto president whose uncle took Tesla's work? Thank you guys. Hope you guys have had an amazing holiday. I will catch you guys in another video live at 500 subscribers. Links in the description below. Drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know your theories as well. Hit that bell. You feel me? And yes, Epstein and all this Bitcoin news and this stuff will affect USDT and Bitcoin at some point. That is my belief. So when Bull Runners says Bitcoin is going to zero, I don't necessarily think it's going to go exactly to zero, but I think it's going to crash in a way that nobody is expecting. And again, guys, we'll go ahead and get into this later. But here is Donald Trump, Stephen Alderati, and Brad Garlinghouse. These guys are the 2 heads of Ripple, and XRP is behind everything that Ripple does. So here we have Brad Garlinghouse, Steve Alderati, basically the guys at Ripple, the guys behind building the new financial system, with the person who is the nephew of the person who took Nikola Tesla's work. And when you look at it like that, this entire picture, this entire narrative around crypto, around Bitcoin, around Epstein and Bitcoin, even around the Nikola Tesla conspiracy, it all starts to make sense. And this is why a lot of crypto people get into conspiracy naturally. Crypto is the biggest conspiracy of all time, I think. Because look at all the shit that's behind it. You think they're going to create a new financial system without having control? I hope this has been a very thought-provoking video for you guys, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of crazy stuff. This world is very strange. You feel me?
Breaking news. The fall of Bitcoin is near. Charts are in free fall, confidence is shattered, and wallets are bleeding red. But there is one person who can save you. No Face. Subscribe now or be left waiting for the next train.
Sleigh bells ringing, crypto in a drip, XRP stacking, faceless on the tip, no fake crypto grinding, never take a slip, exposing Z-bet scams, watch them lose their grip, 0 to 300, 6 months we rising high, top 1% faceless, wallets touch the sky, carbon pass brand glowing, no disguise, Christmas crypto hustle, watch the profits multiply. Tinsel on the ledge, frost on the charts, XRP rocket, lighting up the dark, scams get roasted, Zebba getting yarded, basically fake moves, now we hit them hard, liquidity floods, my wallet gon' splat, haters talking fight, I just tip my hat, smart contracts, automatic, no cap, every block mine, add another lap, faceless grind, every clip of devotion, crypto slay riding, digital to the ocean, lessons learned early, no gimmicks, no potion, exposing frauds, dropping knowledge, pure motion, sleigh bells ringing, crypto in a drip, XRP stacking, faceless on the tip, no say crypto grinding, never take a slip, snoozing zebra scams, watch them lose their grip, moonwalking, snow falling, profits never lie, top 1% faceless, watch the numbers fly, carbon brand pamphlet, no alibi, Christmas crypto hustle wallets, touch the sky, gifts in the blockchain, I'm rapping truth, basically schemes now we cut them loose, faces in the booth, every rhyme a proof, no fake with the rise, faceless going smooth, stacking sats like candy canes, haters ice cold while we breaking chains, chart going up, digital gains, XRP slave ride, breaking all the planes from 0 to hero, 6 months we fly, faceless empire building, never shy, Christmas vibes, crypto high, no face crypto grinding, top 1% face the sky, sleigh bells ringing, crypto in a drip, XRP stacking, faceless on the tip, no say crypto grinding, never take a slip, exposing zebra scams, watch them lose their grip, snow falling, profits never lie, top 1% faceless, watch the numbers fly, carbon brand path lit, no alibi, Christmas crypto hustle wallets, touch the sky, sleigh ride, get right, XRP glide, faceless on the